Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and today we are looking at Thrust as he was represented within the Transformers United Seekers Elites triple pack box set from Takara Tomy, which I believe was an exclusive edition with a very limited release. And a set that I had no intention of picking up, but found when I was at In Demand Toys, their open, sort of their special annual super mini convention open day, I don't really know what you call it, where they open up an extended amount of their store and have tremendous sales. And it was a part of those tremendous sales that enabled me to pick these two sets up, the Aces and the Elites, showcasing Decepticon Seekers. And one of them, in fact our last one to look at, is this one, which is Decepticon Thrust. And again, for those who don't know and you're new to the channel, welcome. I did collect Transformers back in the 80s, but more or less just some of the slightly out of the ordinary ones, because that's when I started joining the collection of Transformers. So I missed out on a lot of G1 jets and G1 cars, because when they first were released, it didn't really grab me until I got into the storyline and some of the characterizations, and then of course it was too late for me to track down some of those very figures that I elected to show no interest in. So seeing something like this, which is a very G1 representative variation of the Seekers, really caught my eye, and that's why I went to great lengths to secure them, by which I mean I walked around several times, kept coming back to where the boxes sat, and eventually picked them up, because I thought, well, how will I feel if I come back and someone else has picked them up and I've missed that opportunity, which has happened to me more than once in the past. So on this occasion I snatched the boxes. There were some excellent deals in store, so I did really well, really well. And so now I'm currently taking us through the individual models that come in the different sets. We're working our way through the Transformers Seekers Elites set, and this is the last one to have an individual look at exploration, and this is Thrust. Not least so cool because he has additional thrust packs on his wings. In the box themselves, the thrust packs are on the underside, so they require a little bit of adjustment for model mode, but you know, it's easy, they just tab in. And again, he's got the weapons that do fire, as I've shown off in the initial unboxing video. The detailing along the plane mode rather is not dissimilar to what we've seen, because again, in the majority of the cases, the main body, the main fuselage, is identical across all the figures. Configuration mainly differs around the wing section and the cockpit and nose cone section, particularly for Dirge and his compatriots, because they are, of course, colloquially known as the Coneheads. But I really love, as I've said a few times now, the way that, and this is one of the things that attracted me to it, was the quality of the paintwork. You can't see it quite so well on video in this one, but the metallic paint on Thrust here is really lovely. Not just on the silver points around the nose cone and the air intake valves, but also the lovely paint. I think you can see it slightly better on those thrust side vents, and on the legs maybe a bit, but it's it's really captivating, actually. And to be fair, I thought this was the one that was going to have the best paint. It was between this one and Ramjet, I must admit. But then Dirge, Dirge really surprised me when I transformed him into robot mode, because suddenly the colours really worked in that mode. And if you haven't seen that, please do check out that video. They're not terribly long videos, because they're just showing off the two modes, really. So in the spirit of that, here's the underside. Decepticon logo on the tail fin there rather than on the wings. You can see the spring-loaded weapon system release switch here, which I won't press because they really do fire quite a long way. More metallic paint is visible there. You can then see the silver and metallic gun metal coloration on the underside. And of course, we have poor Thrust's face popping out there, giving us yellow eyes. In this, oh, there he goes. He's crashed and burned there. And it's unfortunate that we can't cover that up. I've said that in all the videos. I'm not going to say it anymore, I promise you. But but it's there, and there's nothing we can do about it, because it's just how it is. But again, a really wonderful rendition, I think, of this particular figure. I'm really here for it. I'm really glad that I was able to pick it up. I think it's an absolutely wonderful rendition of the figure, of the jet mode, as I've said. There's a hint of stylization to it, but I'm here for that. You know, it's bringing to life what our imagination could only dream of back in the 80s, and I'm so thankful for every variation that we get that brings us closer to our dream versions of Transformers. As I've mentioned before, these are from the Transformers United line, which was a line I was unfamiliar with. I would be absolutely thrilled if you could possibly let me know in the comments down below if you are aware of the Transformers United line, and if there's anything else in that line that you think I would really appreciate picking up or looking out for. Because I've done a little bit of online searching, and it hasn't proved to be the most fruitful, which is unusual because I can usually find quite a lot of stuff. But I can't find that much. So either I'm doing something wrong, which is entirely possible, or there isn't that much, which I find unlikely. But yeah, by all means, please let me know. I'm always keen to learn more and find out more, and so many of you are fonts of knowledge, and I would be really grateful. Talking of being grateful, I'm going to transform Thrust into his robot mode now, but in the meantime I'd be really grateful if you could just do a quick click to like the video. Really helps boost it algorithm wise. And also, perhaps even more importantly, if you could drop a totally free, obligation-free subscription to the channel, then you'll never miss a future video, unless of course you choose to, because there's no obligation to watch everything I put out. Some of it may be up your street, some of it really may not. But at least it means you won't miss out the things that may be of some interest to you. And it really helps a small channel like mine get to my next subscriber milestone, which would mean the absolute world to me. And when you're dropping a comment down below, let me know you subscribed, and I will absolutely drop in and say thank you very much. Anyway, if you can, you can, and that's fantastic. If you can't, it's no problem. I'm going to transform up Ramjet. Not Ramjet. I'm obsessed with Ramjet. I think he's my favourite, but I'm not going to tell that to Thrust here. But I'm going to transform up Thrust, and I will see you back here in a split second. And here we have Thrust all transformed up into his robot mode. And again, I have to say the transformation's very straightforward. Doesn't generate too much screaming and too many expletives from myself in the execution of it. It's very straightforward. There are a couple of well, I'm going to call them clearance issues, as has been the case with all of the Seekers, which only really serves to negatively impact some of that metallic paint, which is my biggest fear, really, because what I don't want to see is in transforming them that metallic paint does then start to take a bit of a battering and start to chip, because I really do love it. I mean, you can see here in his robot mode, especially as the light catches it, you know, the feet, the knees, the sort of the crutch plate there, the arms, the shoulders, the wing thrust areas, they really catch that, and that metallic paint is absolutely lovely. Even down to that sort of head sculpt with those yellow eyes. It's just a lovely figure. Again, some very nice dynamic posing opportunities with this chap. Again, the articulation is relatively basic and straightforward. So you've got some limited head rotation, you've got shoulder articulation, elbow articulation, you've got a bit of a butterfly joint at the elbow as well, but that's mostly to do with transformation. You don't have wrist articulation other than it can swing inside and out. Hips, you have basic hip rotation and sideways elevation and front and back kick. Knee just over 90 degrees and some toe movement, but very little and no ankle tilt. So that's what you're getting with this figure. Still more than you'd get with the G1 equivalent, but not perhaps as much as you'd get with certain more recent legacy generations types figures. But you know, it is what it is, and he's certainly posable enough for me to be quite content with what he does offer. So let's get him in hand and have a look. He's quite sturdy. I mean, obviously he's new out of the box, even though I think he's about 10 or 11 years old based on when these figures were first being looked at online, as I found in my own research. So the fact that he's holding up this well, I'm giving him a good shake. I'm really happy with that. So let's get in nice and tight as far as we can anyway. I don't want to jump too closely to it. There you go. So there's his face sculpt, with a very interesting, I'm trying to get those yellow eyes that sort of match the golden element of the intake valves there. You've also got that nicely painted chest. The metallic paint I've spoken to pretty much to death, so I won't keep boring you with it. This time I'm using his weapons as handheld guns, because again all of the Seekers have come with these standard sort of, I want to call them all null rays. I know they're not all null rays, but I'm just going to call them that for sake of argument. But the weapon null rays can be stowed obviously on the arms and as weapons and on the wings. Because of these, which I've chosen to leave on the front, I can't port them really effectively into the shoulders, so I'm not going to. So he's using it as a handheld weapon, which I think is absolutely fine. The feet, the leg detailing is absolutely gorgeous. Decepticon symbol on the support struts on his legs. Again, backpack wise, nothing. Very smooth and clean design. Back the rear of the cone there. It's just a really straightforward, lovely homage, if you like, to a G1 figure that you know, carries himself really well, stands really well. Just pull out slightly to give a bit more exposure, and I really love it. I really think all three of these figures from the Elite set, so Thrust here, Dirge and Ramjet that we've already seen, absolutely fantastic and wonderful counterparts to the Aces set, in which we saw Starstream, Skywarp and Thundercracker. And I love it. I was so pleased and feel so lucky that I was able to pick this set up. I think they look magnificent. I am going to do a final video summarising my thoughts on this set, and I will bring all 6 of the Seekers back together again. And that should be with you relatively soon. So if you have subscribed to the channel, keep an eye out for that. It won't be too far in the distant future. I think they're lovely figures, so I hope that's not too much of a spoiler as to where we're going to go in the summary. But what I'm really looking to do is to have the Seekers and the 2 different type of Seekers sort of next to each other, and in like brothers in arms, finally united, which is nice because they're from the Transformers United range, so that kind of makes perfect sense. Thanks so much for spending the last 8 or 9 minutes with me. You've been a fantastic audience. I have been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this has been Thrust from the Transformers United Seekers Elite Triple Pack from Takara Tomy. I look forward very much to seeing you again in a future video, possibly a past video. Have a look around. There might be something else that you fancy if you're new here. And otherwise, it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.